Oh, I didn't know you were there. I'm just doing a little light reading. Going over some of these phrases from the Book of the Dead. I'm going on a camping trip this weekend with some friends, and well, according to this, I don't know if they'll be friends after this weekend. We'll see. We'll see. We're gonna have a seance, get wild, have some fun. You know what I'm talking about. But while I'm practicing this, let's get into the review of The Evil Dead. Hey, welcome back to my channel. And the film we're going to talk about today is The Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead. Now, the making of this film has become as legendary as the film itself at this point. I know myself, there's a book called The Evil Dead Companion that I've read that actually goes through all three movies, the making of all three movies. Plus in Bruce Campbell's book, he talks about the making of this, especially the first film, about the trials and tribulations these guys went through to get this done. And if you're a horror fan, you know Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi, and Rob Tapert made films together growing up. And when they got out of high school, they made they wanted to make a feature-length film, and they went around to dentists and anybody they knew to make enough money to go make a film, and that film became The Evil Dead. This movie was written and directed by Sam Raimi. We have Bruce Campbell as Ashley J. Williams. This is before he became Ash. I mean, this film, Ash is not Ash as we know and love him today. He's a little different in this film. We have Ellen Sandwich as Cheryl. We have Betsy Baker as Linda. We have Teresa Tilley as Sally. And then we have Richard DeMoniker as Scott. And they are our five leads. And basically, simple setup to this movie. They're on their way to spend a weekend at this cabin in the woods that they got real cheap. Scott's proud of that. He goes, now the place might be a little run down, and it is. It looks like nobody's lived there in years. And they show up driving the classic, as Sam Raimi calls it, the car they're driving. And when they get to the cabin, things already seem a little bit off. They think nothing of it, and they go inside and they set up shop for the night. And not too long after that, weird things start to happen. But in the basement, after the door opens, the trap door to the basement, Scott and Ash go down into the basement. And what do they find besides a shotgun and some shells, a torn Hills Have Eyes poster, and the Book of the Dead, or the Necronomicon, and a tape recording. They take it upstairs, they start looking through the pages, and they turn on the tape recording, and it's this gentleman, this professor, and he's reciting some of the lines from the book. And as we all know, you do not want to be reciting lines from that book. And before we know it, they're elbows deep in demons, and they're getting possessed and whatnot. And it's a very simple setup, and there's not much setup at all, really. It's just they play the recording that reads from this book, and the demons come and start possessing them one by one, and one by one they each get killed or they become a deadite. And as we know, Ashley J. Williams is our last remaining person at the end of the film. And even at the end of the film, it looks like the evil's chasing him, and we think he dies at the end, but obviously we didn't make Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Now, when I saw this movie when I was younger, I remember seeing it at my buddy Chuck's house. It scared the shit out of me. This movie is very visceral, for sure. Nowadays, you look at it, it's very low budget. I mean, this movie was basically made with bubble gum and duct tape. Some of the effects look pretty good. Some of them don't hold up that well. But there's no denying the passion behind this film. And what really makes this film work, besides Bruce Campbell's pretty damn good in this film, and so are some of the other actors. I mean, the acting's not the greatest, but Bruce Campbell gives a good performance. It's Sam Raimi's directing. It's so kinetic and different and original. And some of the shots they pulled off on such a small budget. I mean, if you read the book about this film, I mean, it's crazy what they did to pull off some of these shots. And just the trial, they shot this in Tennessee, Morristown, Tennessee, outside of Morristown, Tennessee, in a small cabin in the woods. And they basically lived out of that cabin while they shot. And some actors wouldn't come back, so they'd have to have Ted Raimi stand in for people, or somebody that wasn't, just from behind. They called them shimps from Three Stooges era. So yeah, they had a lot of problems, and then it's a miracle this film turned out the way it did, and it went on to become a classic. I really like this film. It's scary as hell. I do think the sequel's better, but they had more money. They went from like a $300,000 budget to 2.6 or 3.4 or something like that million for the sequel. So they had a lot more money for the sequel, and it shows when you watch part two. But this movie has all what you want. I mean, there's some really great shots, some creepy shots. There's creepy atmosphere. They pile on the gore. I mean, by the end of the film, Bruce Campbell is covered in blood from head to toe, pretty much. And when he finally kills the Deadites, I mean, it's just batshit crazy what happens in this film. But and the one part that always got me when I was a kid was when the demon stabs the one girl in the ankle with the pencil. That always gets me. Even last night when I rewatched this film, like, oh, it still freaking hurts when I see it. So what would I give this classic horror film? I would give the original Evil Dead a 9 out of 10. Just alone for the fact, the passion behind it and the directing of this film. The directing of this film is so kinetic and awesome. I mean, Sam Raimi has a style all his own, for sure. And he's only perfected it even more over the years as he got more confident as a filmmaker. Even by Evil Dead 2, he was more confident and he just took it even further. But even in this one, what they were able to pull off with such a small budget, and it was a project of passion, and it worked out for them. It got them another movie, Crime Wave. Unfortunately, that movie bombed and kind of just escaped, as Bruce Campbell was quoted as saying, the movie to get released, it escaped out into the world. And then they came back with Evil Dead 2. But I love Evil Dead. I love Evil Dead 2. I like Army of Darkness a lot, and I loved Ash vs. Evil Dead, the series. So yes, I give a 9 out of 10 for the Evil Dead. If you're a horror fan, I know you saw this, but have you seen this film? What are your thoughts on this film? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. You all stay safe out there, and I'll be back soon with another review. Thanks. Bye.